Okay guys, today's the day where I put some C16 in the white car and finally test out the new motor with the Vortec V3 and the 3.3 pulley. Also, the latest changes to the white car have been a set of Nitto 555 R2s. Right here, Nitto 555 R2s 305, 35, 20. Right now it has 30 PSI in it. So I'm gonna see how they like 30 PSI. And if I have to go down from there to get some grip, I'm gonna go ahead and do so. The other thing I'm gonna do is not run the blower open. Not because I have a fear of sucking anything in, I just want to not suck anything in. So I'm going to go ahead and put the filter that was on the F-150 on it, just to make sure we don't suck anything in. And to be honest, probably to choke it slightly. It's got a 3.3 pulley on it right now, 6 rib. This is a V3, okay, so it's not, it's self-contained. So we have to be careful that we're not going to go ahead and you know, overspin the slinger, so to speak. So because a 3.3 pulley at about close to 8,000 RPMs, it's probably 14 or so PSI, and on a day like today that it is quite cold out, I mean for Florida, we want to make sure that we don't, you know, overboost this setup because it's stock fuel pump with a BAP. So I want to make sure that this guy doesn't see like 15 or 16 PSI when it's nice and cool out. Okay, so basically that's how it's going to look. So let's get some C16 in it, get it on the road, let the C16 mix in there, and we're going to go ahead and see if number one, how much air load it's creating to make sure we don't have belt slip, and what it runs, 60 to 130. Hopefully we can get it into well into the sixes, and if the tires hook and everything's happy, I don't think it'll see fives, but I think it'll see mid sixes, somewhere around there. All right, let's get on the road. Let's tune the thing, bring the laptop, bring the data logger, aka the N-Gauge, and get this guy on the channel again. In case you guys ever wondered what 305, 35, 20s look like, you know, on a, I think this is a 9.5-inch wheel if I'm not mistaken. The GT500 wheel, it's like a 9.5-inch if I'm not mistaken. Let me go around back real quick so you guys can get a better sense of the meats. You know what I mean? So give you a good sense of what 305, 35, in my opinion, that's the right size for a 20-inch wheel on S550. All right, let's keep on filling up. Stop the bullshitting. Okay, so the car had just under a quarter, put 10 gallons in. Oh yeah, okay. So the car is basically gonna have a full tank of gas, a spare tire in the back, jack. Yes, I have a Harbor Freight jack. I ain't about to mess with scissor jack. So let's get the N-Gauge, the draggy, go for a ride and get some sights and sounds, and hopefully we can get this car well into the sixes. And the goal after all of this will be explained after we do some draggy hits. Hey guys, how you doing? Back in the car. We're gonna get after it, gonna, you know, do some sights and sound, just kind of get driving impressions and let the C16 mix properly. I'll know right away when the C16 has mixed, because if you've ever driven a car with C16, it has a very distinctive smell. Probably one of the best smelling fuels out there. I know that's a weird thing to say. Let's be honest. When you're at a racetrack, what you notice is smells, sights, and sounds. And C16 distinctively is one of the more easy fuels to identify. Remember when FTW was a thing way back in the day? FTW fuel, everyone loved that stuff. It smelled like grape, and supposedly it was a pretty awesome fuel, and I tested it on the red car and it was actually pretty freaking awesome. But what we're gonna do is go for a quick spin, head to our spot, do a third gear watt pull, data log it, and then see if the fuel pump is supplying adequate fuel to the vehicle, so that when we go a 2.3 and test out a 60 to 130, that we're not running out of fuel and dropping fuel pressure. So let's get to the spot, do a third gear wide open throttle, just like you would do on a remote session, see how the fuel pump is acting. I think it's a really good idea to not beat the crap out of the car until you know for a fact that the fuel has mixed in there properly, because people don't understand that it takes a while for the fuel to mix, get through the injectors, and into the combustion chamber. It takes a while. So same thing when you go from E85 to pump gas. You go, oh my God, it's rich, or it's lean, or whatever. Just wait, especially on the Flex 2. Wait, it will mix. Once it starts mixing and trimming properly, life's good. So let's get after it. All right, so let me just do a third gear hit here. Hopefully no Mexicans are on the road, because I am in Mexico. So third gear to 7,000. Boost. It's seeing 1.3 air load. So I might have to adjust the bypass. I think the bypass is staying open, and I just stayed with my eyes fixated on air load, and it only saw like 1.3, 1.4. So I'm like, all right, it's definitely not seeing the proper boost. So I'll get under the hood and see if there's any adjusting I have to do. Right, this is why we test. So I went out there, went wide open throttle. The car felt kind of lazy, and I was like, let me look at a data log. Luckily, I went out there, did a hit, and the car felt lazy to me. So I went ahead and did a pull, and I noticed that these are short-term fuel trims. Remember, guys, I told you about short-term fuel trims starting to spike in really good weather, and air charge temperatures are only 66. Okay, this car actually got cooler as it started fucking hauling ass. Not that cool, but it started, the pull started at 66, and they ended at 86. So ambient is about, I don't know what, who cares? But check this out, because I think you guys might find this interesting. Remember, this car has a stock fuel pump and a booster pump with FIC 1440s and C16. And when you graph fuel pressure right at the top of the RPM, yep, exactly, guys. Good fuel pressure, and then it goes, fuck you. But even more interesting, in my opinion, is air load. Air load was going up pretty consistently, but it only went up to 1.4 or 1.57, which is maybe 8 to 10 psi, right? 20 degrees, about 8 to 10 psi or so. So it's definitely not making what a 3.3 pulley should be making. So what I'm gonna do is look at the bypass and see if there's an issue with the bypass on the blower. What's the bypass? That's the bypass. So this guy has an adjustment screw, and if you look at it from over there, that guy has to be adjusted properly. So when we took the car apart, Jake noticed that the screw was really loose. So what I'm gonna do as a test is I'm gonna do 2 turns in, just gonna screw it in 2 turns and see if it makes any difference at all in the boost reading in 3rd gear. Knowing that I have a fueling issue, I'm not gonna go too crazy, probably not gonna be able to complete the test today, but this is why we test and why we data log. So I'm gonna go in there, take a peek, and see if by adjusting this guy, we can get more boost out of her and see what fuel pressure does, because I'm sure it's gonna drop. So we'll see how it goes. Legit thought I blew it up, but it ended up being the old, when the engine blew up before, it had a bunch of oil in the pipes, and it got hot for the first time, and it burned off the residue from that. But I was thinking about it. Let's say it's not seeing proper boost, but it's seeing 1.57 air load, which is about 8 to 9 to 10 psi. Jake said he can beat me on pump gas. So I'm like, you think you can beat me on pump gas? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, so if you can beat me on pump gas, I don't mind racing you at whatever this thing is generating for a boost. It's obviously not generating a ton, 10 or so psi. I don't mind racing him on pump gas, me on 10 psi handicapped. There's 2 handicaps. He's on pump gas, he's heavier, and I'm on pump, and I'm on actually C16 and limited on boost. So I don't know, it might be a good race. Anyway, enough talking, let's look at the data log. Well, there's the culprit, belt slip. So how do we see belt slip? We've talked about this before. After adjusting the bypass valve, I did another hit. I didn't get it on video, but I want to show you what belt slip looks like on a log if you just happen to do some logging. So that's RPM, okay? And this is my pedal, okay? So on, off, let me see where I went watt here, the last pull. right click, drag over, boom. Okay, this, I hit the rev limiter here, but look at air load, air load, air load, air load, boom, drop. Before I let off the throttle at about 7,400 RPM, massive air load drop. Now, if you think it's fueling related or you know, injector stuff, well, look at MAF frequency, meaning the velocity of air going through the MAF. Also, okay, right here, also started to drop up here. On centrifugals, that sucker just keeps climbing, and as you can see, it started to drop. I think I have this way too zoomed in, way too zoomed in. There we go. Okay, started to drop at about, I think, 70-something hundred RPM. Yeah, 71, 7,200 RPM. It went from 1114 MAF frequency, and when you scroll to the right, meaning RPM goes up, 7209, RPM goes up, 7298, 73. This goes down, MAF frequency goes down. So I have belt slip. So I'm gonna get a new belt, put the tensioner on nice and tight, come back after it, and relog. Right now, it seems like the belt is not cooperating, which is fine. I just put this motor together, finally put C16 in it, and everything seems to be running really well. I just have to make sure that the belt situation gets rectified. So new belt is on, it's gonna have to come on the way, and I'm gonna go ahead and relog with the new belt and see if we can get back to the 2.0 air load days. Now, the fuel system has to be absolutely addressed. So I don't think I'm gonna do a return style fuel system. If anything, I'll lower boost. That's right. Like, what do? Are you just going to start pouring money into this car too? Probably not. I'll probably put the 3.6 pulley back on it and rev it to the moon, and hopefully that's enough to beat Jake. So again, this whole thing is being done so that I can race Jake's truck, and he wants to be on pump gas. I'm going to be on C16, and he's 10R80. I'm MT82. That's the whole reason we're doing all this. But unfortunately, is experiencing belt slip, and I went way past the rev limiter. Do not bother looking at that because it went to 8,300 RPM, and somehow the oil pump gears are still intact. Ain't that some shit? Oil pump gears are still intact. So crazy times. All right, guys, I'm gonna get that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, doing some testing on the white car. You can see what everything looks like. You can see what the tires look like, and you know, I'm trying to get you guys a payoff. But if I can't get your payoff in the next day or two, then no real reason to wait to make a video for payoff, because it'll be a week's long effort. But we'll see. I might just hold on to this guy, edit it, and finish everything off and give you one nice continuation video. We'll see how I feel about that. All right, guys, we'll see what happens. Hey guys, so after spending most of the day trying to get you guys video on the white car, which has been it's kind of like not been a great day to video the white car. There's a lot of little loose ends that have to be tightened up. It now has a voltage issue. I think I have belt slip, and I think the bypass is acting up. So there's a bunch of things that need to happen before I can give you a video with payoff. So I thought, what the hell, let me go ahead and get you guys a video on what I mentioned on the last video of the F-150, the weld wheels that are going to be going on the GT500. Now, one of the fans in the chat did mention, because on the last video I said, you know, this guy won't work because of that. They said, hey, Alex, check the center cap box. It might be in there. A 45-degree valve stem. And wouldn't you know it, weld came through. They put it in the center cap. So instead of freaking out like me and thinking, oh, made in Taiwan, I hope the bag was made in Taiwan. Well, made in Taiwan. Made in USA. Well, we'll see. Anyway, so I'm gonna go put this guy on, mount the other tire on the wheel, and shove them on the GT500 and give you guys a video on that. Why the hell not? One mounted, looking good. Looking like a nice little stretch. This is what I've always liked about 275 60-15s on a 1510. Nice little stretch as opposed to the bulge. I'll try to put one of them side by side when I mount them, and I'll kind of show you why I think just aesthetically these look pretty good. All right, got them mounted. Was not difficult. It's just a lot of little things you got to do to make sure the bead is seated properly. These are torqued down properly. This guy finally seated nicely. So To you, it'll look like a couple of seconds. To me, it'll be a day or two before I mount them on the GT500, just so you have some payoff for the video. Okay, just so you get a good sense of what the S71 B's without a beadlock looks like on the car. Trying to get a before and after picture. Oh, this is before. And this is a 325 tire. Jesus, 325 50/15. So you get a sense of what it looks like. And now I'm going to put these guys on with a 275. Oh, these are flat. Oh, these are shank style. I thought they were not. Interesting. That picture's not a problem. Let's see. Wow, these are light. I've been picking up 20-inch wheels all week. Tires are decent. Probably needing to be replaced soon. They're like flush with the wear bar, and they haven't had. I mean, they did take this 2K. I'd say they're 50%, but if they're at the wear bar, probably right there to get replaced. To be honest with you, probably get a couple of good track sessions out of them, but I don't think I wouldn't call these new, obviously, but they're decent. The wear bar on the inner part is okay. The wear bar on the outer part is not. The reason I'm showing you this is in case one of you guys want to buy it. That's why. So yeah, basically the wear bar here is pretty flush. This guy a little further down, but at the end of the day, probably could get plenty of runs out of this guy, but not a ton. I don't think you can get 3 or 4 track sessions, maybe 2. But I think I'll compare them against each other. This is a 325, oh, double beadlock. So it's a 325 50/15, 275 60/15. And the way it sits on the rim, height should be similar. Actually, the 275's 60/15 ET Street. This is DOT Pro. See, tread pattern? DOT Pro. You can see how far the wear bar is. And this is an ET Street R. This is a 50 series. This is a 60 series. So actually, it's a little taller, like slightly taller than the R. Not that much taller, but there's a size comparison if you look at it from top to bottom. There's a lot more footprint on this guy than that guy, but it is bulging. This guy is slightly stretching. This guy is slightly bulging. So let's get it put on. Stop talking shit. Oh, these feel heavier. Oh yeah. Guys, just to give you a heads up. 325 50/15 on a non-beadlock wheel. Guarantee this guy's heavier. I wish I could weigh him. I'm not going to do that because I don't care. Yep, this is heavier for sure. You guys might want to consider that when it comes to shopping for wheels. This feels lighter than that. I wish I could verify, but I don't care. But it definitely is a noticeable difference. But there you go. That's what it looks like installed. Let's get it down on the ground. Okay, the curiosity is getting the better of me. So, 325 50/15 tire, wider than a 275 on a non-beadlock / 70s ghetto jerry rig beadlock, versus a 275 with a beadlock. Let's see. I got a scale here. Let's see what it weighs. What do you guys think it weighs? Okay, let me hold it. 47.2 pounds. That is a 15-inch 325 50/15 tire on a 15x10 S71 non-beadlock. Bet me that's 49 pounds. Bet me the 275 with the beadlock welds is almost 2 pounds heavier. Bet me. Oh, guys, it's heavy. Maybe it's the tire. Holy shit. Okay, so here we go. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Here we go. NA guys are buying beadlocks. NA guys are buying beadlocks. NA guys are buying beadlocks. If you didn't buy a beadlock, you'd save 53 for 47. Let me weigh it again. 53. That is 6. Guys. 6 pounds. This wheel, S71 15 by 10, is 6 pounds lighter with a 325 50/15 than a 275 60/15 on a beadlock style wheels. NA guys right now are jumping off of bridges, like right now. Okay, here's the payoff. Much better, much better. Looking like a typical deep impact blue car at your local track. So the fronts are probably gonna go to, I do like the S71 fronts. They have a bit of a dish situation going on, so I got to make sure the offset and everything is going to be good. But I think I'm going to go with some Weld Forged 2.0s. Those are super nice, super pretty tires. So Weld Forged 2.0 is probably going to go in here, and I'll probably sell the set with all center caps and everything. Obviously not a mint set, so I'll obviously price it accordingly. But yeah, there you go, a 275 60/15. This is how it sits on a 1314 GT500 15 by 10 with beadlock. And it is replacing the 325 50/15, and these are lighter. I'm actually adding on close to 6 pounds by adding a thinner, taller tire with a beadlock wheel than with a non-beadlock wheel with ghetto beadlocks, but a wider footprint and slightly lower profile. So there you have it. A couple of cool things came out on this video. First of all, at 10 PSI, because I still have belt slip and I still have boost issues on right over there, we know that the fuel system, the fuel system's just not keeping up, even at 9 or 10 PSI. So I have to address the fuel system. That's very obvious. Obviously, I'm gonna get a new belt. Obviously, I'm gonna get the boost issue fixed. It's got C16, so it's a dense fuel. So I have to figure out what to do about the fuel system. Do I get a fuel system, or do I just replace the pump with a OEM pump? More than likely gonna get a fuel system, but I'm really looking forward to spending $2,000 on top of the $5+ I spent on the motor, trans, clutch. This is cash money, guys. You understand? We talked about building cars. It's very expensive, especially on the late model Coyote game. But then we had a surprise. Beadlocks are heavier than non-beadlock. Now, maybe the material is different. Who knows? All I know is an S71 non-beadlock in my possession with a 325 50/15 is heavier than lighter than a 275 60/15 beadlock weld wheels. You NA guys are gonna have to make a decision. Ball out and look pretty, or be light and fast without beadlocks. Oof! The decisions. All right, guys, hopefully this video was enough for you guys to satisfy the video needs. Again, I was hoping to get you guys payoff on the white car, but I got you a little payoff on GT500. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you later.